In 1814, Britain acquired the colony of British Guiana from the Netherlands in South America, but the boundary between British territory and Spanish territory wasn't well defined. In 1840, the British hired German explorer Robert Hermann Schomburg to survey the boundary between their colony and now independent Venezuela. The border between Venezuela and British Guiana became known as the Schomburg Line. Venezuela didn't recognize the line, claiming more territory. For several decades, not much happened, since the disputed area was mostly uninhabited. But in the 1880s, gold was discovered there, and the dispute flared up again. Britain extended its claim, and Venezuela broke relations with them in 1887. Venezuela petitioned the United States to intervene in the matter, but nothing happened until 1895. That year, newly appointed U.S. Secretary of State Richard Olney wrote a strongly worded letter to British Prime Minister Lord Salisbury. Olney demanded Britain agree to arbitration, referring to the Monroe Doctrine. Salisbury wrote back saying that the Monroe Doctrine had no legal standing. This outraged many Americans. In December 1895, President Grover Cleveland gave a speech to Congress, asking for permission to appoint an arbitration committee. Congress unanimously voted to create the commission, and war fever spread across both sides of the Atlantic in late 1895 and early 1896. But trouble was brewing in South Africa, and Germany was supporting the Boers against the British. Salisbury realized that his country was isolated and had no real allies. He agreed to submit to arbitration, hoping to make the U.S. an ally. The arbitration committee consisted of 5 people, 2 from the U.S., 2 from Britain, and 1 from Russia. Venezuela agreed to arbitration too, believing the U.S. would decide in their favor. But in October 1899, the arbitration committee decided in Britain's favor. They established the Schomburg Line as the official border, while rejecting Britain's extended claims. Venezuela reluctantly accepted the decision of the committee, but in 1962 they went back to their original claim. This may seem like a minor incident, but it had major consequences. Today, the US and Britain have good relations, but this was not always the case. The two countries went to war twice, in the Revolutionary War and the War of 1812. They almost went to war again because of the Trent Affair in 1861, and the British supported the Confederacy in the Civil War. Between 1866 and 1871, the Fenians, a pro-Irish militia, launched 5 raids into British-controlled Canada, which further strained relations. American politicians would often attack Britain for votes, which was called twisting the lion's tail, since the lion was a symbol of the British Empire. The Irish-American vote was crucial to winning elections, especially since many of them lived in New York, which used to be a swing state. Cleveland won the election of 1884 against James Blaine because a Republican preacher called the Democrats the party of rum, Romanism, and rebellion, meaning alcohol, Catholics, and the Confederacy. This angered many Irish Americans, and as a result, Cleveland won New York by only 1,149 votes. Cleveland lost the election of 1888 to Benjamin Harrison because a letter from the British ambassador was leaked, in which he said that of the 2 candidates, Cleveland was better from the British point of view. Irish Americans swung to Harrison, and Cleveland lost New York and the election. After the Venezuela incident, relations between the US and Britain improved dramatically, and the countries became strong allies, fighting together in the 2 world wars and being part of the same international alliances.